Well, welcome to Africa Countdown to 2024. Did I say welcome? Well, welcome back. I'm being joined by Kofi. My name is Adebola Adedugba. And on the program, we intend to, give you a feel of what other country seems like when it comes to crossing over to the year 2024. We have already taken a glimpse from our correspondent in Kenya, talking about his own personal New Year resolutions. Now, let's talk about Nigeria. We still have a guest here with us, Nelson Ekujumi. Now, talking about Nigeria, let's just talk about what has transpired so far in the course of the year 2023. When it comes to security concerns, the use of the government of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, tackling insecurity head-on come year 2024.
Well, one thing I want us to take home is that the primary responsibility of any government is the security of life and property. And any government that knows its onions knows that that is the basic reason why it is in office. So I have no doubt in my mind that the present administration is taking seriously the issue of security. But most importantly, we need to also recognize that we need to reorientate our citizens, that security is not the business of government alone. It's a collective responsibility. The security agents, the agencies, are people by human beings. They are not God. And that is why at every interaction between the security agencies and the public, there's this usual, a call that please work with the security agencies by giving us information. The security agencies cannot be everywhere. The citizens are the ones that are domiciled in the environment. It behoves on them to recognize that the security of the environment should be uppermost in their mind. And that security can only be guaranteed if they are ready to cooperate and collaborate with the security agencies. Without them giving security agencies the necessary information for them to be able to do their work, the security agencies will just be like, somebody who is looking for a needle in an ocean. So it is important for our people to recognize that they also have a role to play. Because if they play their role as it is, then we will be secure. Then the security agencies will have less work to do. But if the citizenry are working at cross purposes with the security agencies, then there's a big problem, for all of us. So, and like we say, life has no duplicates. Even our bodies have no replacement parts. So it is important for us to play our role such that we're able to help the security agencies perform their functions efficiently.
All right, let's talk about political parties in Nigeria. There's been talks for a measure of the opposition party to make them, so to speak, electable against the ruling party, which is APC. Do you see that happening in the year 2024?
Well, with human beings, nothing is impossible. Don't also forget that these political parties that we are talking about, they are people by persons with different tendencies and ideological biases. It is not out of place if they find a common ground for them to merge, for them to come together and do that. But I leave that for them to decide, because I'm not a member of those parties. But I know for sure that if parties find other political parties that they share the same ideological focus, it's not out of place for them, to come together and become one. But sadly, we have seen situations whereby parties in Nigeria, instead of coming together, wants to go it all alone. And at the end of the day, you even ask, do these parties really exist except on the INEC ballot papers on election day? Because since the advent of this democratic dispensation in 1999, one has been an election observer. And at every point in time, you recognize that in 2019, we had almost about 80-something political parties, if I'm not wrong. Then for 2023 general elections that we had this year, we had about 18 registered political parties. But come election day, go to any polling stations all over the country, you hardly find 5 political party agents present at the polling stations. Meanwhile, by law, those party agents are very, very critical to the, to the successful conduct of any election, because if anything goes wrong in a polling station, it is the party agents that, by law, that will be your mouthpiece. They will be the eyewitness, to attest to how the process, went. But when you find a situation whereby parties that didn't deploy party agents on election day, while the election is going on, come out to say, oh, we have been robbed, the electoral umpire has compromised. You want to ask, how did you arrive at that assertion? Where are your facts? Because if you don't have a party agent, to give you that information, then it means you are just speaking out of emotions. You just want to, taint the credibility of the process, which shouldn't be so. So it won't be a bad idea if they come together and become one. And when they become one, it means the little resources that they have differently, they'll be able to pull it together and be able to, make use of their manpower and their resources to achieve the reason why they are participating in the election. But a lot of times you want to see that, I don't know, election will come on some days before election. You see political parties that exist to a contest election come out and say, oh, we are adopting candidate A. And you want to ask that, is it that these parties exist to adopt another political party candidates on election day? What happens to the, to the processes that is supposed to have taken place in those parties? Because under law, by the electoral law, those parties are supposed to file in their papers for the party primaries, their dates for screening of the candidate of the aspirants, there are days for the primaries that will take place, and somebody will emerge as the party's flag bearer. But a lot of times, we don't get to hear about those processes. So I think we need to start questioning the rationale for the existence of some of our political parties, because if you look at their conduct, they are more like a distraction.
All right. Nelson, we'll come back to the politics in a moment, but I just want to take you back to security. Because you said that, Nigerians need to take responsibility for their security. I mean, we could talk about Plateau State as a case study to help us look at how Nigerians need to take responsibility. But before I get there, well, let's look at that. It's recent, but it's still one of the biggest security stories in 2023, alongside the Kaduna military bombing or drone bombing. So in such a situation in Barkin Ladi and other local government area where you have marauding attackers of whichever tribe, coming out in the middle of the night to slaughter families, what could those people have done to play their part in protecting their lives and property in such a situation?
Yes, I said earlier on that the issue of security is not the responsibility of the government and the security agencies alone, that we all have a role to play. If you look at the trajectory of our insecurity situation in Nigeria, you know that a lot of them, I have not conducted a survey, so that I can't put a figure to it, But a lot of them are a result of, failures of our people. Why do I say so? We have this saying, I'm a Yoruba man, and we have this saying that àgbà kì í wà lọ́jà, kórí ọmọ tuntun wọ́, meaning that an elder cannot be in a society and the youths will go astray. The role of the elder is to mentor the youths in the right way, along societal norms and values. But we live in a society today whereby our elders have failed the youths. I remember growing up as a young boy in this same environment called Nigeria, where when any boy or girl who conduct himself contrary to the societal norms, that boy or girl doesn't have to be the biological son or daughter of a particular elder. Such boy or girl, is brought to book.
So are you saying that the elders in Barkin Ladi in Boko, local government area in Borno State, some of who were slaughtered by these people who we don't even know where they're coming from? Some reports suggest, even by Analyst, by international organizations, that they are Fulani militia, from some of them from even outside Nigeria. But we won't go into that because we still have to get a clearer picture. Are you suggesting that the elders of Boko, Barkin Ladi, and what's the other local government area now, could have mentored those people whom they don't even know, who come from outside? And from the year 2001, it's on record, they have been engaging in attacks based on land grabbing. What they do in places like even Manga local government area or Mangu in Plateau State is that some communities, especially Christian communities, have been chased away from their villages. These persons have come in after killing them and chasing the rest who they didn't kill away, take over the land, and they give those places new names. How could the elders in Mangu, the elders in Boko, and the elders in Barkin Ladi have mentored those people in order that they would have played the role that you want society to play to protect Nigerians?
Yes, I'm not speaking specifically about that local government.
Can you use it as a case study?
Yeah, as a case study. But what I'm saying here is that whether those that are the attackers and those that were attacked, because right now, like you have rightly said, the issue is still under investigation. A lot of assumptions have come onto the public space. But I can tell you for free, if those youths or those attackers had been mentored properly.
By who?
By the elders of those attackers didn't drop from the moon.
But they came from outside. Nelson, someone is coming at you with a gun.
Yeah.
And has been coming at you with a gun since 2001, 2011, 21. This 22 years now. And he wants to chase you away from your land to take it. He's not from your community. He's from God knows where. How can it be your fault that you did not mentor them? It seems, Nelson, you're trying to absolve the government of its responsibility constitutionally to protect Nigerians. Because you are telling Nigerians it's your fault.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Those are
you've been sticking on the civilians and saying people have to play their role.
Yeah, absolutely, I stand on that.
And I think that is watering down such it's people. You saw the graves, didn't you?
No, you see.
Do you know how many people have been buried in those graves?
You know what I'm telling you is that I'm telling you that the elders are failed in their responsibility.
How do you mean?
Those children that became marauders today, that became attackers, they come from a home.
But they didn't drop from Nelson, they are not from those communities.
No, I agree, absolutely.
They are foreigners.
Well, I don't know where they come from.
But what I'm telling you is that they didn't come to kill their kith and kin. And you know this.
Until you kill your kith and kin, that's when it becomes legitimate.
Nelson, someone leaves his village from where you don't know.
Because the elders in his village didn't do their work.
You don't know his name.
That's what I'm saying.
Nelson, you don't know his name. You don't know his background. You don't even know him. He may not even speak English or your language. And then I expect you I'll tell you it's your fault because you didn't mentor him.
Kofi,
where was the time and platform to mentor?
Kofi, we are Africans. We are human beings. What I'm telling you as I sit down here is that if a boy becomes an armed robber tomorrow or becomes a terrorist, It's the failure of the family. That's what I'm telling you.
If I may come in here, I understand when you say
It's the failure of the family.
you're trying to say the family is the bedrock of a society.
Of the society, absolutely.
And when you have infiltrators, you're breaking law and order.
It's because the
invading
family has failed to do its job. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, my point now is we understand that concept, but what we're talking about now is in a case like this
Yes.
of insecurity,
Yeah.
what should be the role of those at the helms of, in charge of, upholding security in a state like
The
Blantyre?
role of those to uphold law and order is to ensure that no life is lost extrajudicially. Is to ensure that no security breach occurs. But I'm telling you that even those saddled with that responsibility can only do their job if they are working in collaboration with other state actors or non-state actors. Because if the security breach will happen, the security agencies, if they don't have enough information, like I told you, even by the time they arrive at the scene of a crime, because if you look at our security architecture today, according to unverified statistics, the total number of police or security agencies we have, policemen to the population of Nigeria, we are claiming to have an estimated population of about 200 to 220 million. And the total police force population we have is less than 400,000.
All right, Nelson, just kindly hold your thought. I believe we have Chinwe Ugele to give us a live update. Chinwe, are you there? Okay, we'll try to bring her subsequently, as we move on the program. Now back to you, Mr. Nelson.
So what I'm saying is that the security architecture we have is very deficient in such a way that the government cannot secure everybody by deploying policemen to every street. We don't have that population. That's a fact. And that is why we have clamored for decentralization of the security agencies, such that we'll have state police, we can have local government police, we can even have CDA police.
So till then, Nigerians should defend themselves. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not.
No, because you said they can't deploy everywhere.
The Nigerian law permits you the right to self-defense.
Yeah.
But in this case, just like these people have been the ones who have bore the brunt of this attack, what I'm saying in essence is that it's a failure of the family, because those children or those people that came from another community A to attack community B, because of the failure of the family that exists in both communities, if the families in community B also fails in their own responsibility, their own children could have been the attackers.
Okay, so when the family in community A, where these attackers are coming from,
Yeah.
not only fail to train their children, actually tell them, when you grow up, you have to go and chase that person out of his village and take over their land. This is a gun. This is how to shoot it. When you go shoot, kill everybody, slit their throats. Sorry about the graphic nature of my questions. That's community A. What happens? So community B, they left to their fate?
No, if the states has that information that a community like that is in breach of the laws of the land, we all know what happens. They are apprehended and made to face the music. But a lot of times, if you look at these security breaches, I don't know about the land grabbing issue, but I know that some of these security breaches are as a result of communal crisis, where people from community A will go and cause a breach of security in another community for maybe whatever form, and elders in this community realizing that our children have gone to cause havoc in community B, instead of the elders to rise up and play their roles to try and interface, because when crises occur, the most potent force to generate that crisis are the youths.
So if we have these elders you've been talking about,
Yeah.
who are supposed to play their roles to ensure that we don't have crime in society.
Yeah.
If it's down to them, then it therefore means you don't need government, really.
Why?
We don't, because there's nothing for the government to do.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
what you're saying.
Absolutely
We don't need to have a police force.
Yeah.
We don't need to have, because your money,
Yeah.
my taxpayer money, Adebola's money,
Yeah.
is what is put together.
Yeah.
It's the government take and manage this company called Nigeria for us.
Yeah.
Provide security, provide electricity, provide water, like they've said in this new 7-point-something billion they're going to get for water, or water policy. Provide all these things for us. Now, if you are saying it is down to the elders to ensure security in Nigeria,
I didn't say that.
that's what you just said.
No.
Then it means that the government, we don't have need for government anymore. But hold the thought. I'll come back to you. I'll give you a chance to respond.
Okay.
We have Chinwe Kelly joining us from Umuahia, the capital of Abia State. Chinwe, I see some lights behind you. What's going on? Have you guys crossed over into 2024 already by some share, fate?
No, I'm in a club. I'm in a club in Umuahia, actually the biggest club in Umuahia, where some people have decided to pass their time while they wait for their crossover. So basically what you're seeing is, usual with the club, where you see license and then people are there. In fact, but from now till midnight, the place will be packed. It's already getting packed, but not to capacity. So by midnight, you see a packed club right now. So far we've been having music, comedy, and people, coming in trickles. So that's basically what is happening right now here.
All right. I think they're going to go there after the church service.
I was going to ask you, Chinwe, what's the mood like beyond the comedy, the music? What's the mood of the people like right there in Abia State?
Well, a set of hope, expectations. People, I interviewed a couple of people a while ago, and they did tell me that they are looking forward to a better 2024. Actually, a better, maybe in 3 hours' time will be in next year. So they look forward that by 2024, everything will take shape. Things that are looking as if they are going to get better will become, will actually take shape in 2024. So the mood is that of hope. It is that of a celebration of life. Because what people actually celebrate this year here is survival. So people are alive and they are happy that they are able to accomplish that. If there's nothing else, they celebrate that they are alive. So people are happy. They want to usher in the new year in a happy mood. So while some people are in the churches attending the crossover services, others are here in the club, like this one here and other places, just to make sure that they are not in a sad mood. Like someone said, that he doesn't want to enter the next year looking angry. He wants to enter so joyfully. So the mood is that of happiness, it's that of expectations, it's that of hope. That's what we
All right, Chinwe, we have to discuss why you chose to go to a club. We have to discuss whether you get paid for tonight. But anyway, we have Austin Azu joining us from Delta State. Austin, where in Delta State are you reaching us from tonight? Okay, Austin, your audio isn't enabled. You have to enable your Zoom audio so we can hear you. Austin looks like he's in a very happening place, like they say in this part of the world. Austin, can you hear me, please? All right, we'll get back to him.
We'll get back to Austin Azu there in Delta State. Austin, if you can hear me, if you can try unmuting your device and to see if we can have a better communication with you. Okay, while you do that, let's come back to our guest who is in the studio, Nelson Ekujumi. Let's talk a bit about, Rivers politics between the former governor, Nyesom Wike, and the present governor, Fubara. Recently, the president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, had to intervene and, made both parties sign a peace deal. What do you see this snowballing into for the year 2024?
Well, I believe strongly that the governor and his erstwhile godfather sat down even with Mr. President before they came up with that agreement. And I want to strongly believe that nobody was made to sign into that agreement under duress.
So do you think they'll keep to these
No, I'm not the one to think.
I'm not
Yes.
saying, what's your
No.
perspective on it?
I said I believe.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not the governor and I'm not the godfather, the erstwhile godfather. I want to believe strongly that as gentlemen who are in public space, that they will keep to the terms of the agreement. It builds on them because it speaks volume about one's character if you have signed to an agreement and you now renege on such promise. It doesn't speak well of the character of any person.
Okay, kindly
whether
hold
you are a governor or
that
not.
thoughts. Apologies. Let's cross live to Abuja, where we have Marvelous Obomanu on standby. Marvelous, if you're there, good evening.
Where's the person?
Oh, Marvelous seems he has gone to a club as well. I don't know what's going on
Marvelous
today.
is marveling.
He is marveling. I don't know. I mean, Chime said something quite interesting. I hope we can get Austin Azu back. And sorry to digress, sir. That the club will start getting filled up by after midnight. And I was asking myself, where are they coming from? Where do you think they're coming from? And also,
From their homes or where else?
yeah, we're coming from church.
Maybe.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. But before we go back to, we'll get back to politics. But I want to give you a chance to make the point you're making. But Austin Azo is back with us. He joins us live from Delta State. Austin, can you hear us? I hope we can hear you.
I can hear you very well.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Austin, there's some noise behind you. What's going on? Where in Delta State are you?
I'm currently in Warri, the economic health center of Delta State. And before me, I'm at the Dominion City headquarters in Warri, here in Delta State. Here, the worshippers are observing the New Year Eve.
All right. Austin, we didn't hear you too clearly. So can you repeat yourself? Where exactly are you? We know you're in Warri, but where in Warri are you?
I'm currently at Ekpan in Kofi local government area of Delta State. And I'm Dominion City headquarters here in Warri.
Oh, he's at Dominion City headquarters. So Austin, unlike Shoma, decided to go to church. Over to you.
Austin, what's the atmosphere like?
The atmosphere here in Warri, precisely here in Ekpan, is that of joy. The worshippers are so happy to see the end of the year, and they are all here. And some people who attend Dominion City, they are all here to observe the New Year Eve, the crossover. And the praise here is so high, and that's why you can hear the noise from the background. They are all celebrating the goodness of God. The atmosphere is fully charged. All of them, they are saying they can't wait for the New Year just to kick in and for them to cross over to the year 2024. But before me, I have one of the worshippers here in Dominion City. He will tell us his own experience about it. So,
all right, interesting, Austin.
What do you think about this year's celebration?
Okay, we'll try to connect with Austin as soon as we have him. But let's get back now to our studio guest, Nelson Ekujumi. You were sharing your thoughts regarding, I believe...
Yes,
okay.
I'm so sorry for that.
Another pause.
We have another reporter on standby. Marvelous Obomanu has been sending us reports from Abuja all year long, and he is back with us as usual in his kit. Marvelous, good to see you. Happy New Year in advance. Where exactly are you, and what's the state of affairs in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, ahead of the new year?
All right, if you know that whenever we are about entering into the new year, it is somewhat a ritual for Christian worshippers to converge on different worship centers, to thank God for how the year has been for them, and also supplicate and seek his presence for more of his blessings, more of his protection in the coming year. Now, if you notice just behind me, you can see this crowd right now. I am at where they call the Transforming Church in somewhere along Gwarimpa axis of the Federal Capital Territory, and you can see Christian worshippers all sitting, waiting waiting for exactly 12 o'clock to shout Happy New Year. They're also here seeking the face of God, to know what God's mind is for them in the new year. Just as you can observe, all of them are sitting quietly, listening to their man of God, giving them prophetic instructions, spiritual instructions on what God has for them in the new year. And of course, you know that some of the people who spoke with here said that surviving year 2023 is actually a testimony, seeing everything they went through, and yet God did it for them. I have somebody standing by right now to tell us what his expectations are for the new year. All right, quickly, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Adebola Babatunde.
All right, of course, year 2023 is about to fade out, just a matter of an hour and some minutes to go.
Absolutely.
For you, what were your high moments and your low moments in year 2023?
Well, I had several blessings of God in terms of my job. Had very fulfilling times in serving God. I mean, here we are in the church. One of the low moments was really when a lot of the fuel subsidy was taken off, and a lot of things changed. So the economy just seemed to be totally different. We had so many people just leaving the country, as the case may be. But I'll just like to say that one thing we know, though, is that God has been faithful. God has been sustaining us here.
All right, of course, just as a pregnant woman will be going into the labor room, with high expectation, and of course the husband will be out there at the labor room waiting for the wife to give birth a child. 2024 is here coming. What are your expectations? What do you desire to see in year 2024? What are your resolutions? And what would you want to see in terms of governance structure in Nigeria? What do you want to see in year 2024?
So again, one thing I would say is one thing I want to see definitely is to see me walking closer and closer in God's plan for my life, in my career, and in my ministry. So in terms of the governance structure of Nigeria, well, we're hoping that we would have situations where the common citizens are able to afford daily livelihood. So I'm a doctor, and I see many times people are unable to access just basic health care. People are ill, but they are unable to pay for their healthcare services, and that's just one of the many things, right? So I look forward to a Nigeria in which people can afford the basic things of life, and it's no longer looking like a luxury. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Now I have another person standing by also to tell us her expectations for the new year. Hi, hello.
Hello, good
I love your pretty smile. What's your name?
My name is Faith Estefanus.
All right, of course, 2024 is about coming, and of course, so many Nigerians are saying that surviving 2023 with all it came with is a miracle. Of course, you saw, the removal of fuel subsidy that brought some challenges to Nigerians. Of course, some people say they were unable to travel for the Christmas season because of the high cost of transportation and all of them. Now, I know that in year 2022, entering 2023, you had some resolution, things you wanted to achieve in year 2023. Were you able to achieve all of them? And if you weren't, what were the factors that inhibited you from not achieving some of the things you had anticipated you want to achieve in year 2023?
Okay, for year 2023, I would say that I was able to achieve some of my goals, at least 50% of them. 2023 was a miracle. God showed up every single time. In life, we face challenges. It's bound to happen. It's what makes life more beautiful. But God showed up every single time, despite the fuel subsidy, which affected the cost of things, transportation, living, and everything. I am someone who keeps a very positive mindset, as my name implies, faith. I don't believe anything can put me down. I believe in the possibilities that lie within me and within the God I serve. So whatever was not achieved in 2023 will be achieved in 2024. So for me, 2024 is going to still be a miracle filled with testimonies. So that's basically how I see it. And I am not scared of anything going on in regards to cost of living, because my own time will be different. I will push through because people are still pushing through, people are still succeeding. So that would be my story too. So yeah, that's basically it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
As you just listened to her, it's been optimism upon optimism upon optimism. Nigerians are expressing optimism that in year 2024 is going to be a miracle. It is full of expectations. Of course, citizens are not just alone in this optimism. The government will also be expressing optimism that they will do all they can to bring governance down to the grassroots come 2024. And there's something I also want us to understand, that year 2023, in as much as it brought some challenges, I mean, it was good. I mean, some people we started the year with were not able to make it up thus far. We know, I mean, of course, you are aware with what happened in Plateau State on the 25th of Christmas, that some innocent Nigerians lost their lives. So every one of them is saying that to be alive up till this moment is a miracle. And of course, as a beginning of a new thing by year 2024, which is just about some hours from now, something good, miraculous will happen to their life. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Marvelous. Before you go, and I don't know if you can hear me, I heard you talk about, the New Year's, like a pregnant woman, going to labor and all that. Marvelous got married this year. So I think that is one of the highlights for us right here at New Central TV. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations, Marvelous.
May that analogy, may it also be your portion as you get into the new year.
And just to add, Marvelous, what would be your own personal resolutions for the year 2024?
Sorry, I didn't get out quite clearly. Please, can you repeat that?
Okay, I was asking, what are your hopes and wishes for the year 2024?
Well, you know that I personally, I just want to just give us a brief testimony of what God did for me in 2023. If you can see this ring, actually, it's glittering. It's a new ring. So actually, I got married to my heartthrob in year 2023. So when others are talking about the high moments, to me, those were the defining moments in my year 2023 that I got married to my heartthrob. And of course, in year 2024, I expect in terms of my family to see more love, more joy, and of course some people are saying they want to hear the cry of a baby. So I'm expecting a new baby in year 2024. That is for my personal life, and of course for the system, for the country. Just like many Nigerians are saying, I just want to add my little voice to them that we expect to see a change in the way things happen. And of course, so many people want to see out of school children out from the streets. So many people want to see the poverty and unemployment rate reducing. So many people want to see accountability in governance. So many people want to see, transparency in spending taxpayers' money. So many people want to see a lot of things, and I am among those Nigerians who want to see the country better, who want to see things improve, both in my private life, in public life, and of course in the society at large.
Just before you go, Bible says, out of the abundance of a man's heart, the mouth speaketh. So that metaphor he used, you see where it came from. And Marvelous, before you go, you're in Abuja. What was 2023 like for the residents of Abuja? Tell us everything. Either it's good, it's bad, it's ugly. Just tell us what you can remember briefly.
Asking of traffic?
No. What was 2023 like for the residents of Abuja? What were the highlights? Tell us the good, the bad, or the ugly, whatever comes to mind.
Of course, let's start with the post-election, immediately after the election, when the presidential election petitions court started. I mean, a lot of people went to the streets to protest because either their candidate did not win or they felt that it was rigged. And, it made Abuja busy because we're having influx of, high-profile people, politicians, lawyers coming into the tribunal tribunal here in Abuja to partake of the proceedings. And then immediately after that, when of course Supreme Court gave a nod to President Tinubu's victory, and we're also seeing some protests. We also saw Niger Delta people protesting, and also people in the Obi camp protesting. That also made Abuja a bit tense and hot. After then, we also saw civil society organizations protesting of one displeasure or the other, and of course that went away. And then during the off-cycle election, we saw some aggrieved politicians who didn't win protesting in front of the Independent National Electoral Commission's headquarters here in Abuja. That also heated Abuja away and its environment. And of course, when the tribunal were sacking and reaffirming governors who won and all the rest of them, we saw influx of people, strangers in Abuja, and that was why the security personnel were deployed to protect life and property here in Abuja. Moving away from that, we also saw the fact that during just 2 weeks back, when federal government announced there was going to be a free transportation for bus services, and then 50%, and then for the train is totally free. We also saw a bit of noise where some citizens were expressing displeasure that they are not even getting that particular benevolence from the federal government, because some people are coming and having access, whereas they are not having access. So it was much of an intense year in Abuja here, because this is where everything is happening. This is where the headquarters is. So whoever that has any form of displeasure or the other comes to Abuja here to ventilate his anger. So it was a bit, tense in a way here in Abuja, but we also saw some good wins here in Abuja too. So the year 2023 for us here in Abuja was, mixed with high moments, low moments, protests, non-protests, and of course, not leaving the fact that, what's it called? The Organized Labor Union, when the federal President Bola Tinubu removed fuel subsidy, we also saw them, converge at different points, protesting at the National Assembly, and a lot of them. In fact, 70% of activities that held in Abuja here were majorly characterized by protests, people protesting for one form of reason or the other. That was how Abuja was in 2023.
All right, marvelous. Manu, our correspondent right there in Abuja, giving us a summary of what transpired in the year 2023. Marvelous, wishing you a marvelous year ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Quite interesting. Nelson, you heard it from Abuja, the nation's capital. He's talked about the presidential elections. We had the National Coalition Center in Abuja, of course, so that was the center of attraction as far as elections were concerned, with Tamabodia Kubu and his, all the proceedings being beamed live on TV. Also, he's talked about the post-election after the results were announced. I mean, remember those images, Adebola, of Atiku Walker and co. For once, mounting a pickup or a truck to go and protest on the streets under the hot sun. These are billionaires we're talking about, It was quite interesting. And then he's talked about, so let's start from that. The election results, the National Election Center, and then the immediate aftermath of the announcement of those results.
Well, we saw the elections, like we all know, took place in polling stations, about 177 polling stations across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And the results from the polling stations graduated to the ward level, where the results were collated. At the polling stations, you had the polling officer and the subordinates. You had party agents, political party agents. You had the voters themselves who actually, exercised their franchise. You had the security agents also present. And after the elections at the polling stations, the polling officer by law will enter the results scored by the parties into a form called Form EC8A. And when he does that, he signs the result sheet. The party agents, by law, are mandated to countersign the results, as well as the security agent present. Then the security agents, as well as the party agents, are given a copy each of the results, and the result is pasted on the wall at the polling station. From there, it graduates to the ward level, where results are collated. At the ward level, we also have party agents, INEC collation officer for the ward level, as well as security agents. The only stakeholder who will be absent in the ward level is the voter who is not there. That is for collation. From the ward level, it goes to the local government collation center, of which we also have all the stakeholders. From there, it goes to the state before the national collation center in Abuja in terms of the presidency. But for states, the governorship, it terminates at the state level.
All right, we have Bongani Siziba in South Africa. Bongani, if you can hear me, good evening from here. Okay, we're having audio challenges with Bongani. Bongani, let's try again. Good evening from here in Nigeria.
Yes.
All right, give me a sense of what South Africa is.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Bongani, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you can, we want to know what the current state of affairs in South Africa is. You're just about 4 minutes away from the new year.
On top of one of the buildings here, and the mood in South Africa, people are in a jovial mood. Although we know that people haven't been happy the whole year, problems, they are facing a lot of challenges, electricity challenges, economy challenges. But however, it's New Year, and I think you can see on my background, fireworks are starting to light up, and people are very in a jovial mood. They are very happy about 2024. However, 2023 wasn't a good year for many people here, but they are very happy to enter into 2024.
Bongani, if I may just ask you, what is your favorite positive story in South Africa for the year 2023?
Hello, I couldn't get that.
Okay, I was asking you, what's your favorite good story, good news story for South Africa for the year 2023?
My network is a little bit bad. Kindly repeat that for me.
Okay, I was asking you what a positive news story stood out for you in South Africa for the year 2023.
One story in particular that I can speak about, but one story that was the highlight here in South Africa, like I indicated before, that the story of electricity, where businesses have been down, people couldn't have enough electricity every day. School children, some of them couldn't study because of the problem of power here in South Africa. That is one of the highlights of the stories that I did in 2024, and in 2023, rather, I'm already in 2024, so that's why I'm talking about 2024. But the electricity challenge, but I think you can hear the fireworks are now on, and we are now almost to 2024 here in South Africa. But talking about some of the stories that were highlights here in South Africa, we talk about the BRICS summit that also happened here in South Africa, and the AGOA that also happened here in South Africa in 2023. Those are some of the stories that were highlights here in South Africa. I think you can hear from the background, people are very happy to enter into 2024. They have high expectations for 2024, although they had a big challenge in 2023, but they are very happy to enter into 2024. And Globek now has come alive. People are so excited from all corners of South Africa. I can hear the fireworks that are going out. People are singing. People are throwing things from the building. A happy mood that is here in South Africa. And we are in 2024 here in South Africa. And South Africans are so happy. With some of them, I spoke to some people, and they were telling me about the resolutions. Some of them were telling me that they hope that 2024 will be a better year than 2023. 2023 wasn't a good year for South Africans, but for them to show that they are so happy and they are looking forward to 2024, what is happening at the background is showing that many people are so happy and they are looking forward to 2024.
All right. Mongani, we can see the fireworks already. Where exactly in Johannesburg are you? But first of all, a Happy New Year to you, Mongani.
And Happy New Year to South Africa.
Yes, indeed, and other countries in the Southern African belt who share the same time zone
hour ahead of
as
us
South
here in
Africa, which
Nigeria.
is GMT plus 2. You can see South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia,
Lesotho, Swaziland, Republic of Congo, Libya, and Egypt.
are all in the year 2024. Mongani, Happy New Year! The fireworks are still in the background. Bongani, I wish I could transpose myself to where you are so we could exchange or switch places. Bongani, can you hear us, please? All right. I don't know where she is. Somewhere in South Africa. I don't know if
Okay,
it's in
let's
Stanton.
come back to
But it's quite,
Nigeria.
yes, it's quite interesting
It is
that
actually.
the Southern Africans are crossing over. I think for them it's been a year of challenges, like we heard her say.
Absolutely.
ESCOM, which is their own so-called NEPA,
Yes, power
has
holding
had
company.
issues.
Yes.
And okay, I'm
believe we
told we
have-
still have Bongani.
yes.
Bongani, are you there?
Kofi, unfortunately, I can't hear you because of the noise of fireworks. But I guess you are asking me about what exactly.
Okay, you have some audio challenges. Of course, the fireworks are all over the place. But yeah,
Absolutely.
as we were saying, they've had, Mr. Ekujumi, challenges with power supply in South Africa. Do you feel that the country has taken a giant step backwards since the Black South Africans, as encapsulated in ANC, came into power?
Well, I don't have those facts on my fingertips, but the fact that they've had to endure a lot of hours of load shedding, and it became a big issue in South Africa for year 2023. If you ask me, and that is the general belief out there, that the blacks have not managed, the country as well as the apartheid government did when they were in power. Even though we recognize the negativity, the evil that apartheid regime brought to bear on the psyche, of even the blacks themselves, not to talk about the whites. But you can't run away from the fact that if you look at the South African economy or status in general terms, they have fared badly compared to when they were under the white minority rule. That's a fact.
All right, Adebola, we have standing by, all the way from Blantyre in Malawi, Mavuto Bamusi and his family. Mavuto Bamusi is a political analyst. Mavuto, thank you so much for joining us. Good to have you, and compliments of the season.
Well, indeed, I'm so excited to be on this program. Definitely speaking to you from this time around from Lilongwe, the capital city of Malawi. We have just entered the new year. We have just entered the new year. Of course, it's on a slow pace because Malawi has been on the receiving end of the economic turbulence, the economic crisis that has been happening. You may recall, many people will remember that Malawi was hit by cyclone Freddy in the month of March 2023. So the lagged effects of this particular cyclone on the economy, on the social welfare of the people, as well as on the political aspects of life, has just dampened the festive mood. However, Malawians have got a way of celebrating in that very small way, but there are still celebrations happening. Let me also hasten to add that I talked about the status of the economy of Malawi. Just some 8 weeks ago, the Central Bank of Malawi devalued the currency, the Malawi currency, which is called the kwacha, by 44%. So that's a magnitude, a sizable devaluation of the currency, which has also affected the spending power. The majority of Malawians cannot spend as much as they could compared to the previous years during the festive season. But anyway, we have now crossed over into the year 2024, and the celebrations have just kicked off.
Let me just ask you, Mavuto, what would be your projections or expectations for Malawi for the year 2024?
Well, in terms of prospects, let me talk about the economic prospects. As already has been indicated by the IMF as well as the World Bank, we don't expect the economy to grow much by less than 3%, which is not significant enough to make a dent on poverty reduction. Let me also just indicate that according to estimates, close to 73% of Malawians are living in deep and severe poverty. Inequality is also wide. But my prospects for 2024 are basically also based on the fact that the other year, in 2025, Malawi is going to the polls again to elect a president. So there will be a lot of spending pressure in the year 2024 in anticipation for the election in 2025. Basically, we can say that within the Southern African region, there are a number of countries that are going to the poll. We might have heard of South Africa, which is going to the polls this year, 2024. We also have got Mozambique going to the polls this year. And the other year, 2025, will be Malawi. And normally, Malawi is followed by the neighboring country, which is Zambia. So the dynamics that will be happening in the region will have an effect on the economy in Malawi, but also in the neighboring countries. So these will have a lagged effect or a damping effect on the Malawi economy by the time we hit December 2024.
Okay, if you can just bring your wife, on air to share with us her aspirations for the year 2024 and also possibly how 2023 has been for her, if that's possible.
All right, those are the
yes,
right there.
It is possible she'll be joining in shortly.
Okay, so while she does that, talk to me about the good stories that stood out for you in Malawi for the year 2023.
Some of the good stories that happened in Malawi in the year 2023 include the fact that Malawi has experienced a decline in terms of the child mortality rate. And this is one of the landmark achievements, I think, globally across the Southern African region. And number two is the fact that there is a semblance of peace and stability within the democratic setup for Malawi, and for the first time, the Malawi government has enacted a peace law for the democratization process. So a few of the good things that have actually happened in Malawi. However, these positive developments have been dampened by the economic outlook. But another good thing that as my wife is joining in, that's Amanda.
Oh, that's fantastic! Happy New Year to you, Mrs. Bamusi.
also say that uh,
Happy New Year to you, Mrs. Bamusi.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you.
Thank you. We're yet to cross over yet. We're about 50 minutes behind away from the new year. So you and your husband and Malawians, you crossed over into the new year before us. Those of us in Nigeria, we're in Lagos, Nigeria. So we'll catch up with you very soon.
Oh, interesting. We're wishing you a happy crossing over into 2024,
right.
full of hope and a new outlook about life.
And just to wrap up, as a family, what are your, outlook for the year 2024?
We're hoping for the best. The first thing is hope. And we do believe that everything is going to go on well, starting from the weather and the economy as well. We can only hope that some good things are going to happen in the country. One of the notable things in the year 2023 was that we were able to, the Revenue Authority was able to collect taxes to beat the revenue target that was given. So that was a positive thing. And we're looking forward to more of that, because the more the revenue, then the more the development for the country.
All right, wishing
and
you
for the people as well.
fantastic...
And it also trickles. Oh, okay. I was saying for the people as well, and it also trickles down to families and the individuals for the country.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Bamusi, a happy new year to you both. Wishing you the best of the year 2024.
Yes, and indeed I can see that the Bamusis, Mrs. Bamusi is also equally a political analyst, like the husband. And it's such a wonderful pleasure to have both of you, join us tonight on the program. From Adebola and myself.
It's a happy new year to you both. Okay, I believe we have our correspondent ready for us in South Africa. Bongani Siziba is there. Bongani, a happy new year once again.
Thank you. I can say them to you because you're too behind.
Bongani, you've not told us where you are, because I'm interested in knowing exactly the location. I see some skyscrapers and I saw some fireworks. Where is that?
I am in the heart of Johannesburg. That is a well-known place where a lot of things happens there. So I'm on top of one building, and I can tell you that people are throwing things from building. Very happy. I don't know this kind of happiness whereby people will be throwing beds, preaching from almost 8th floor, throwing them down. I think this is how they show that how happy they are with people. So I am in people. That is the heart of one.
All right. Mogari, we apologize. The quality of the audio connection isn't too good. Maybe the network is filled with people sending, New Year messages and might be dragging. But Southern Africa has faced a lot of interesting developments. One particular highlight, apart from the the electricity issues in South Africa, was the election in Zimbabwe, where the ZANU-PF candidate and current president, who was a successor of Robert Mugabe, won a fresh term. But we see that there have been protests in Zimbabwe, and also protests by Zimbabweans in South Africa, and a lot of protests in South Africa. Since Zimbabwe is part of Southern Africa, I want your quick thoughts, Nelson. Generally speaking, Zimbabwe is a country that a lot of Africans have been interested in, right from the land reclamation policy of Zimbabwe, and then the sanctions. What are your thoughts on how that country has fared after Mugabe left?
Well, we know very well that prior to the exit of Robert Mugabe, the country was, battling with economic challenges. That the currency became worthless than even the tissue paper, and the economic turbulence has not subsided even with the new man at the end of the saddle. But be that as it may, because of the easing out of Robert Mugabe, the new man has not faced the type of international pressure that Mugabe faced because of some of the policies Robert Mugabe put in place, like the land reclamation, or how do you know? So one feels that the people might have had a little bit of a respite, but like we've heard from your guests from Malawi, even from South Africa, one thing you cannot take away from the world in 2023 was that there was the global economic crisis, which cannot be divorced from the after effect of COVID-19, as well as the Russia-Ukraine war, and presently the Israeli-Palestine war. So, except we want to delude ourselves, the economic crisis that the world is facing, one only hopes that these countries, especially we in Africa, like the last guest you spoke with, that she said the revenue agency was able to meet
and they're happy.
Target, you know, and because you know, and that is the fact. The more revenue you are able to make, the more funds that will be available, you know, to carry out.
But it sounds strange. I mean, for those of us on the western part of the continent, because people would say,
well, you know, people have that notion, you know, that, oh, even if we make the revenue, are we sure that we'll get value for it? But, you know, you can see us speaking, you know, rationally, that naturally, when you make more money, it means you have more resources to carry out your functions. Because we all know that everything in life, to make life happen for human beings, you know, is always down to naira, or is down to cash, or you know, or currency.
Let me take a moment to stress on what you mentioned, talking about the war happening between Hamas and Israel, following the massacre that happened in Gaza, and then Israel promised, you know, to eradicate Hamas. What do you think this would spiral into, come, you know, the year 2024?
Well, the crisis or the war does not seem, you know, ready to abate. We have seen the relentless, you know, campaign by Israel, and the Prime Minister of Israel has sworn that is going to take out Hamas from the face of the earth. But be that as it may, I am very happy that the United Nations has set up a humanitarian, you know, agency in Gaza to ensure that even in the midst of this conflict, the humanitarian crisis does not escalate, because as we speak, it is getting to boiling point. I've seen pictorials and videos of relief trucks being hijacked by desperate people. That's to tell you the dire situation they are facing in Gaza.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nelson, just before we come
Yes.
back, you know, Southern Africa is led by South Africa. That's the biggest country.
Yeah,
Do you understand the fact that the South African government is firmly, in its foreign policy, on the side of the Palestinians, to the extent that they've made statements calling what Israel is doing a genocide? Absolutely. And they've recently taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that is that, like we see, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Don't forget, the people of South Africa endured years of dehumanizing minority rule. And if there was a people that stood by the black South Africans, you know, to fight apartheid, you know, with all the guts, it was the Palestinians. So what South Africa is doing now is payback. That in our times of need, you stood by us. If you are now in your own time of need, it behoves on us, if we want to be fair to ourselves, to also stand by you. That is exactly what South Africa is doing. And, you know, South Africa is not booking, you know, it's not feeling any pinch about its resolve. The South African president and the South African government has come out categorically clear, you know, to condemn the Israeli attack on Gaza. And, you know, South Africa has come out to tell the whole world, this is where we stand in this crisis. We'll stand with our friend who stood with us. And, you know, except if you want to be, you know, if you want to be hypocritical, that is when you can criticize the South African stand. That is their own belief that in a time of need, you were with us. Now is your own turn. We'll also be with you. Because like we say, you know, life is such that you don't know whose turn it will be tomorrow. So if South Africa is repaying the good that the Palestine did to them in their own time of crisis, I think it's natural for South Africa to be doing what she's doing now.
Okay, let's come back to the African continent. We have seen a rise in coups happening. We saw a coup d'etat happening in Burkina Faso. We saw coup d'etat happening in Mali. What do you think this would mean come the year 2024 for other African countries?
Well, the coups in Mali and Burkina Faso, we have seen a situation whereby a lot of us on the African continent, we have condemned the Sithitism of rulers, especially in the East African sub-region, where we have rulers who have spent over 4 decades. You talk of Cameroon, for example, where maybe I was a toddler when the man assumed the reins of power. He's been there for over 40-something years. You talk about Equatorial Guinea and the rest. But be that as it may, the coup in Mali and Burkina Faso were not driven by, Sithitism. These are countries that were going through democratic rule, but because of the insecurity, that they faced with terrorism, you recollect that one of the crises that brought about the Burkina Faso coup was the overrun of so many territories by the terrorists. And in Mali, they also had a problem where the terrorists were gaining grounds than even the government in power. So it made the government in power, very weak. And as a result of that, the military felt they could do better. But as we speak, they have not fared better in any sense. Things have even become worse. And that is why you see them trying to rally one another with other fellow coupist countries like
Mali,
Niger, as well as we are talking about Mali and Burkina Faso.
Yeah, Niger.
Niger is the third one. Then
Guinea.
Guinea. That's why they are trying to rally themselves around. Like we say, birds of a feather flock together. These are coupists that, as Africans who want to determine our own political future, we must condemn them and urge that they return the country to democratic rule. We have seen the situation in Mali, where the coup leader has continuously shifted the goalposts.
But these countries, like we heard from their prime ministers today, they said that the people wanted the military to take over, and if that is the will of the people, then no one can blame them.
Well, you see, it was just like what happened in Niger, where some persons came out and demonstrated in support of the coupists. And some persons said that is the will. And for some of us, we were worried that there is no way coupists will take over reins of power, and knowing the human nature, that they will not find support somewhere. And the question we have asked, where was the census conducted and you could arrive at that conclusion that the vast majority of the people wanted the coupists?
So you're saying these coups across West Africa were not supported by the majority of the people?
I don't believe so, because until I have those facts, and those facts as we speak are not available. They are just assumptions.
Nelson Ekujumi, we have to go. Ekujumi, rather, we have to go. We want to thank you so much for your time. We will have Africa Countdown, of course, continuing right here on News Central Television. But Adebola and myself will be taking our bow and, of course, handing over to the very capable duo of Dakpo and Dashin, who will be coming up later on this program.
So stay with us and thank you for your kind company. Dashin, Usman, and Dakpo. Adegboye comes up very shortly for the rest of the programming.
It's been good doing with you, Adebola.
Same here.
Yes, indeed. And from both of us, we wish you a Happy New Year in advance. We didn't have any wine on the table, so we'll go look for that juice, Adebola juice, somewhere in the office and with our party hats, and probably with Nelson.
See you in 2024.
See you in 2024.
See you in 2024.
All right, have a good one. Please stay with us.